Few hours ago, the Islamic State terrorists, ISWAP, aka the brothers and family members of Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, aka the children of Sultan of Sokoto, aka the freedom fighters of Gumi, Sheikh Gumi, released a video of the atrocities they committed yesterday on the Nigerian state. Right now, the video is playing there. Please go and look for, you can find it with Sahara Reporter. This ISWAP released the video. They were the one that released the video. So it's not Nigerian state that released, no, they are the one that released the video. So if you have not seen this video, go and look for it. I will not want to play it because it's going to take time. I don't have time to waste. I do not have time to waste. So please look at this video, go and look for it. You can find it with Sahara Reporters, and then you can watch it. But then it's playing here. It's playing here. Now I watched this video, and after watching the video, no, this is not the first time. This is not the second time. This is not the third time. It's not the 10th time. But there are some things that I observe with this video, and with the way the guys operate. And I want to talk about those things. There are 7 points that I want to talk about. Number one, these guys are very, very intentional with all forms of seriousness to achieve their goal. They are not going to play. Every time they go out, or to go on a raid, or to go and commit these atrocities, they don't go to play. They go out with all forms of seriousness. They are very intentional about their goal. They are very intentional about what they want to do. And when they go out, they don't negotiate. They don't try to, they don't negotiate. They go out with all terror. And they commit all terror on the Nigerian state. Number two, they don't take prisoners. They don't take prisoners. Even if they take prisoners, they'll still execute them. They don't take prisoners. They execute. They will, especially for a soldier, especially for a military man. They take the only reason why they'll keep you alive is if they need funds. If they need funds from their partners. Who is their partner? The Nigerian government. If they need more money from their partners, the Nigerian government, then they will kidnap some, keep you alive, so that when their partners release funds, that they cannot release. That is the only reason why they keep, why they will keep you alive. But the essence is to annihilate, to eliminate. So they will not take prisoners. When they take prisoners, it's because they need money, they need more resources. Their funds are getting low, so they need their partner, the Nigerian government, to pour in more money to them. Number three, they are having fun. I'm telling you, they are having fun. Everything they're doing, they're enjoying it. That is why they're enjoying it. They have the backup. They're enjoying it. They're enjoying it. Number four, they do not intend to stop anytime soon, and they will not stop anytime soon. And let me also tell you that majority of the oligarchs in the north are happy about this. This is why you find out that you will never see them protest against the atrocity of Boko Haram. You will never see them protest against the atrocities of Fulani herdsmen. You will never see them protest against bandits. But you see them come out to protest against the US. You find their leaders. I know some of them on Twitter. It doesn't matter how much. Let them kill 500 persons in Nigeria today. They'll focus on talking about the evil of America and Israel. They are focused on America and Israel. Why? Because it is all playing. They're all working on the same script. They're all working on the same script. And I've always said, you cannot be ignorant at this time as a Nigerian. I'm telling you the truth. You cannot be ignorant at this time. That's why they don't bother. How many times have you seen them come out to talk about? No. It is all for one goal and for one goal alone. They will not stop. Not in the next 10 years, not in the next 20 years. Until they achieve their Islamization agenda. I'm telling you the truth. Most northern leaders want Nigeria to be Islamized. Most northern leaders, I'm telling you, most northern leaders, when I'm talking about leaders, I'm talking about political, traditional, religious-wise, most northern leaders and influential men want Nigeria to be Islamized. It is their goal. They want Sharia to be the sole law guiding, ruling Nigeria, and they want Nigeria to be Islamized. So these guys, what they are doing is not stopping the next 10 years. It's not stopping the next 20 years. It's not stopping the next 30 years. So you must know that. Number five, the Nigerian state and the northern elites are very passionate about what is happening. They love it. I'm telling you. You'll be saying, but some of them are being killed. See, you must understand something with the northerners. They can sacrifice a few. They can sacrifice a few for their own perceived greater good. They are willing to sacrifice a few of themselves for the greater good. They want Nigeria to be Islamized, so they're happy about it. That's why you don't see them really come out with full force. They have been on the street for the past 1 week, protesting against Israel, protesting against America, calling for the death of Israel and America. But not for once will they come out with such tenacity and intentionality to protest against them, or to carry on to fight. That's 6. If a soldier from the south, if a soldier serving the Nigerian military in any capacity from the south, I want you to know one thing I want you today. Your life is being gambled. Your life, your dear life is being gambled. Believe me, believe it or not. Either you believe it or not. Most of you are there. I know many that have reached out to me to give me some clues, to tell me some things. Many have told me, say, Apostle, this is exactly what you are saying is the truth. This is what they have been doing. This is what they have been doing. I know. Just know. I will not tell you what to do. I will not tell you either to live or to remain. That's your business. Do with this information whatever you like. But let me make you understand that the government, the Nigerian state, is gambling with your life. You are not a hero to them. As you are alive, you are not a hero. When you die, you are not going to be a hero because they will not even celebrate you. They will not even give you a proper burial. You can see what they did to your colleagues recently. They gathered them and threw them around like sardine. They don't care. They don't care. So you must understand that. Now, finally, to the church in Nigeria, God will bear me witness that during my own time, as a man serving in God's vineyard, as an apostle of Jesus, I keep talking about this in every single day. I've become a noisemaker on social media. And that is because when we look at some of the things happening, we see what some of you don't see. We understand what some of you don't understand. Sometimes we want to keep quiet so that they will not say this man of God is talking too much. But when we know what is coming for you, we are forced to still keep talking. And so I'm going to tell you, the Nigerian churches, listen to me again one more time. Listen to me one more time. The Nigerian churches, the Christians in Nigeria, the Christian Association of Nigeria, the politicized ones, the corrupt ones, and the ones that are standing well, because there are some that are doing well also. The PFN and every Christian association, I don't care whatever denomination you belong to. If you don't come together, organize a conference, hold a conference, and talk about how you are going to start, you are going to erect or establish Christian Security Network, CSN. That the church, not the government, that the church is going to finance, that the church is going to empower, not to attack anybody, not to be aggressive towards any religious group, but to protect the Christian communities and the church in Nigeria. I guarantee you, 20, 30 years from today, the fate of Christians in Nigeria is at stake. Some of you that understand what I'm saying, you know what I'm talking about. Most of the time we see these things, we understand it. We understand the problem. Some people know this I'm talking about too. If you don't begin to look for how you're going to push this proposal as an organization in Nigeria to the government to permit the establishment of Christian Security Network that will not attack any group or attack any religious group, no, but will be there armed at all times to defend the integrity and the safety of lives and properties of the Christian brethren and the church in Nigeria. God will hold you all accountable, and the fate of Christians in Nigeria will be at stake. I've said it before. I'm not afraid of no man. I've gone beyond the level in my life that I'm afraid of death. People always tell me for my life. Sometimes when I see people commenting, your God will protect you, I just look at it and laugh. Thank you for your prayers. But I died a long time ago. And I've told you before, you cannot kill a man that is dead. I died in Christ. The life I have now is the life of Jesus. If I live today, to live it is Christ. If I die, it is glory. In fact, it is expedient that if I'm here, as I'm here, I'm doing the Lord's work. But if I die, there are crowns of glory waiting for me. So I'm not bothered. My life is secured in God. Totally secured. If you don't do anything to help the brethren in Nigeria, if you don't look for a way to mitigate the gap, the wide gap between the churches in the south and the churches in the north, that most churches in the south have no idea. They are not connected to the reality of what is going to the churches in the north and the brethren in the north. God will hold you all accountable. Because for every platform you have been given, it is for to glorify God. If your brethren are going through this persecution, to Islamize them, to force them into Islam, to bow to demonic gods, blood-sucking God, you will see in that video, the guys kept shouting, Allahu Akbar, meaning that Allah is the greatest. They keep saying, Alhamdulillah, we thank the Lord. We thank Allah. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah. They keep saying that we have been able to subdue the Nigerian military. Arne. They keep calling them Arne. And they keep saying Allahu Akbar. They keep reciting Quranic verses to back it up. You are the one that is praying. They are the one that is acting. If you don't do anything, the Nigerian churches again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I keep coming on. But if you don't do anything, the fate of the Christians in Nigeria is at stake. Organize a conference. Both Catholic, Protestant, Anglican, whatever you are, organize a conference. The leaders come to and begin to discuss this. God knows if I have the capacity, I will do this. I don't need your permission. The fate of Christians in Nigeria is at stake. The government will not end this. They are not interested in ending it. The Northerners are happy about it. As far as it is for the sole purpose of Islam, they want it. Forget about some of the hypocrites that come online. Sometimes they are willing to sacrifice some of their members to achieve this. Rise up, and act. God bless you.
Very well, sir. Well, a lot of people have seen you in clips and pictures with this terrorist where you know where they are. We've communicated with them. You've even as far as negotiating with them, So a lot of people believe that since you have, this the knowledge about all this, is it that the government does not have the power or the equipment to know where these terrorists are to tackle insecurity?
The government knows every terrorist by name and by location. I don't go yellow. I don't go to the terrorists alone. I call the police, I call the security, everybody. I will go to the MES, another place. In fact, when we went to one terrorist, I went even with women with me. into the bush. When you didn't see it because the camera was not concentrated on it. Hello, boy, hello.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, kamar yadda al'umma ake gani a irin wannan haɗuwar tamu. Ni ne Basiru Muhammad mai almajirai keta, kamar yadda aka sani. Don haka, ‘yan uwa muna roƙon Allah, muna roƙo gare ku. ‘Yan uwa da abokan arziki, muna roƙo gare ku don Allah a taimaka muna. Don Allah a taimaka muna a fitar da mu ga wannan wurin da muke ciki. Don haka muna neman taimakon mutanen garin keta da dai ma makwabta da duk dai abokan arziki da ‘yan uwa da abokan arziki na ko'ina masoya, to don Allah a taimaka muna. A taimaka muna a fitar da mu daga wannan wuri da muke ciki. Tsakani da Allah, kamar yadda dai kuke gani, muna cikin yanayi, muna cikin wani hali. Don girman Allah a taimake mu. Yau muna da kwana 56. Don girman Allah a taimaka muna da masu hali a cikin wadda dai wanda duk yadda za a yi dai. Don Allah muna neman ɗauki, muna neman taimako har zuwa ga gwamnati, don Allah a taimaka muna. Muna roƙon arziki don Allah a taimake mu. Don haka a can.
Sheikh has just said that the federal government knows all these terrorists by their names, and he does not go alone to negotiate. He goes with the police, the military, and other security agencies. Yeah, what do you think about this? Because the federal government...
I've spoken about Sheikh Gumi before, and if you remember exactly what I said, that he's not a foolish man as people think he is. He's actually a smart person. He might be smart for different reasons, and he might be egregious in his ways. And I just told you what I always known. He's not telling you anything new. All these terrorists are in bed with people in government. Whenever there is mass kidnapping, why do you think that government is able to hear from the terrorists? Because they have their phone numbers. If they call one side, the one in Niger, those ones will give them the telephone number of the one in Katsina. They say, no, it's not us, so it's our friends in Katsina that did it. That's how they know Gumi is not lying. There's no major terrorist, and there's no major criminal in Nigeria that is not known to security agencies. But you even find kidnappers doing MCs at the children naming ceremony of police commissioners in Nigeria. They know themselves. They help themselves. I once told you last year that there's a guy who is into fraud that was given an office at the Nigeria Police Headquarters, one Jesha. So how he's not lying. They know all the terrorists. If they want to wipe out the terrorists today, they know where to get them and wipe them out. They know it. I'm not in government, and I'm not any of the security agencies, but I also know that government knows these terrorists. In fact, so many of the terrorists, they call up people in government when they are bored. They say, what's happening now? We haven't been allowing us to operate. We want you to leave some areas for us. So it's very true. He's not lying. And that is why we always say that government in this country is a crime. People in government, yes.
What is the reaction to the Nigerian spokesperson that trying to defend himself? He's trying to defend the government that has already rubbished before the international team.
We are talking about Daniel Bwala. So my own position is different from everybody. Everybody is talking about Bwala as if it is possible to defend Tinubu. It's not possible. Bwala is just trying, and you see, it doesn't have to even be with the Al Jazeera guy. But the other thing that surprises me is that, are you expecting Bwala to be successful? All of you are asking us, so if Bwala had been able to present the case very well, would you give him a Nobel Prize? So everybody's making it sound like, oh, he failed. Well, if you are not a failure, why would you join the Tinubu regime in the first place? All of them are in the same WhatsApp group. So you don't want Bwala to fail? That's what surprised me about some opposition people. Their reaction is as if we are expecting Bwala to just go there and just defeat and perform and present Nigeria as an Eldorado where Nigeria is falling apart. It's impossible, So that's why it surprises me that this is my first comment on Bwala's gave. It's not possible to defend Tinubu anywhere. Even if Bwala met a secondary school boy, he would say, I've defeated him. In this age of Google and AI, you can Google and find on AI in Nigeria what is happening as it is happening. Now you can use it to confront any of these guys, you know. But the problem that most people have is that you must understand that the Bwalas of this world, the Reno Mockeries of this world, it is hunger that drove them to go to the government. So what do you expect them to do? They have to defend their bellies and their esophagus. That's what took them there. Forget about everything they tell you that, oh, I have a flourishing law practice. Now this thing. But if your law practice is flourishing, what are you doing rubbishing yourself and your generations yet unborn? Nobody would do that. Definitely something is not flourishing in your life. That's why you're working with Tinubu. And lastly, I'm even sure that Tinubu himself is surprised that Bwala did so terribly bad. But we may not also be surprised that for them, every publicity is good publicity, whether it's good or bad. So they might be praising him. Who knows? With regards to the organ harvesting case, as I told you earlier before the judge came, there is a police report. The Nigeria Police Inspector General's office actually instituted a panel to uncover what was going on after the uproar stemming from the publications and I think Gist Lover, one of the online blogs. And there was a report, but they buried the report because the policemen involved were very highly connected. And but the report, I got hold of some part of the report and was published yesterday. And the report, even though it was trying very hard to indict this fellow, it also went ahead to disclose 11 deaths in 2022 alone, carried out by this policeman at Akunzu, RRS. And the police never did anything about it. I also mentioned earlier that all the persons indicted in that report have either been promoted or even been given judicial positions. In fact, the fellow whose case led to the arrest of, who was arrested for being a member of IPOP, has also been freed on bail. He has been traveling between Turkey and Nigeria doing his business. So the only person that is still left in detention is the whistleblower, this youth corper who wanted to serve his country. That's why a lot of people hate serving Nigeria, because Nigeria will do you dirty. So that's where we are as far as that issue is concerned. We are pushing to ensure that he's released, and we have asked the new Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, to intervene immediately, not to pretend like he didn't see this case, and to intervene in other cases, all these needless and unwarranted arrests, detention and prosecution of persons who are merely expressing themselves. We have asked him to quash all these cases. There's a case of another woman in Lagos, Maureen Badejo, who is a blogger from the UK. The police authorities there connive with pastors, Pastor Suleiman, Apostle Sule woman, and another apostle, another priest in Lagos, Daniel Olukoya, Dr. Daniel Olukoya, to arrest this woman. And the woman was taken to the magistrate court. The magistrate granted her bail. She didn't run away. She went back before a federal high court. The federal high court, by Justice Akintayo Aloko, sent her to detention. You don't detain somebody when they have been granted bail. And the essence of granting bail is that the person will come back. It's not punishment. And we have asked Disu, I call him Disu, to immediately discontinue all these rubbish cybercrime cases and stop the police from engaging in harassing people in the name of cybercrime. The country is in need of repolicing. As I'm talking to you, Maiduguri has been encircled by Boko Haram.
Yes.
It's a matter of time before Maiduguri falls if something serious is not done. And your policemen are here paying attention to rubbish. You all are aware, when I said it last time, that a lot of states are going to be besieged by terrorists and bandits. Terrorists is what we know them as. But when they call them bandits, just to make you feel a little better. But they do the same thing. Now, these bandits have reached Ondo State. They have reached Edo State. They have almost taken over Northern Kwara. They have reached Kogi State. The biggest terrorist camps in the country are very close to here, Suleja. And also, another huge one is in, what's this place called? Bajana. In Kogi State. So even Abuja, all of you who are walking around thinking that you have security, Abuja is not safe. Because if the chips are down, the rich people will just use their own personal security to escape. They will leave the ordinary people to suffer their own fate. It is happening, and that's why police must be serious work at this time. Anybody who is in the police force, who is going after people who kill chicken, somebody's collected somebody's wife or girlfriend, it's rubbish policing, and all those people should be fished and pushed out of the police force. And I'm using the opportunity to also talk to the guy who is in charge of the legal department in the police, one AIG now, who I have spoken to personally to discontinue these trials. But I heard that because he's a pastor himself, he wants to help his fellow pastors to prosecute people. And I'm wondering, what are all these pastors? Why do they believe in God if God cannot fight for them? Why? Throughout the reign of Satan, and Satan is still reigning, Satan has never used the police to arrest anybody. Satan don't even trust Nigeria police. Why would you be using police, which is even by biblical standard? Nigeria police is a satanic agency. I'm not saying it just for the sake of saying it, but if you know what policemen do, even God, when God sees what Nigeria police does to his own creation, God himself shakes in his boots. How can pastors then go near such an agency to help them fight ordinary people? The pastor should be fighting the police to reform and sanitize the police. But pastors are deploying police to fight innocent people. That tells you the state of religion in this country as well. Most of these religious leaders, I'm not sorry to say it, they don't believe in God. They are just using God to make money. God is a hustle for them. Otherwise, how can you believe in God and you go and ask police to help you arrest somebody? Instead of you to just ask God to arrest the person. And there's nothing God cannot do. What God cannot do does not exist. I know what they say. So why don't they trust God to fight their battles and they go to police, a godless organization, to go and carry out this fight for them? Yes.
Okay, so, the Electoral Act now stipulates that certificate forgery cannot stop a politician from contesting for office. If they come and they have forged certificates, they cannot stop it.
What do you expect when the president of the country, Nigeria, cannot trace where he got his certificate from? He can't. There is nobody who knows where Tinubu graduated from. Only Tinubu himself knows the university he graduated from, the university he went to secondary school at, the university the primary school he went to. So it's natural that certificate forgery will no longer be a crime. It's going to get to a point where everything you think is a crime will no longer be a crime in this country, including drug peddling. They will soon tell you that it's not a crime to carry cocaine and distribute heroin. That anybody that's doing it is doing legitimate business. So that is why I'm not surprised to hear that certificate forgery, because most of the people in leadership in Nigeria forge their certificates. That's the truth. Tinubu, nobody knows where his certificate came from. Wike has 2 birthdays as a person. Nobody can tell you that this is how Wike actually, where the year he graduated from law school. Everybody's just saying that Wike is a lawyer. And you cannot hear any case that Wike has ever won before as a lawyer. You talk about Akpabio, I think he's a lawyer too. Maybe those ones, I don't know. But anytime you see them in the political circle, just know that they have done something funny. and fake with regards to their certificates. So you have a lot of them like that in the system that can't prove to you where they genuinely went to school and who their classmates are and how they graduated. Most of them graduated, they didn't do NYC, and they went and forged the certificates, NYC discharge certificate. I did NYC, I wasn't given a certificate, but I didn't forge the certificate. They are still with it today. I say when they are tired, they'll give it to me. But you have said that APC people is always against rule of law. They're against fairness. They're against transparency. That's what the party represents. So I'm not surprised. But even Tinubu himself, when he was still part of, when he was living the fake of a pro-democracy activist, he was accused of treason. And people defended him at that time to say, look, if you are accused of treason, which is the same thing the soldiers are accused of, you should be given fair trial. Abiola was accused of treason. He was granted bail. It's one of the most popular cases we cite when we are asking for bail for accused persons. That the fact that you are accused of a capital offense does not make you automatically guilty. And anybody who has been accused of treason, if there is a treason case, you should allow them to prepare for trial. Under the military, everybody accused of treason was allowed to defend themselves. And you see them, they will show them, they allow their families to visit with them. So why should we be under democracy and people are accused of any offense for that matter? And we already presume that they are guilty because we are accused of it. So what happens to presumption of innocence? So I don't pay attention to all those APC people. They should be careful. And it's very important. One day they will be out of office. They will be accused of offenses and they will not be running after looking for Shore to come and help them fight for their innocence. We just talked about Malamitu here, who was here today. That's how they used to behave. They will grant people bail, they will be cordial, and they will not respect it. Now, they're asking for respect for rule of law. The same thing with Rufai. When he was governor in his state, they did as if the world started and ended with them. Now, they're asking for the rule of law, transparency. They're asking for fair trial. What we are asking for is fair trial. And if you don't have any case against them, just swallow your pride and let them go. It's as simple as that. But they know the game they are playing. Because if they've been detained for 5 months, now going to 6 months, and you claim publicly that you have already concluded your investigation, put them on trial. There's no big deal about that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
The U.S., we spoke earlier about insecurity and how it's affecting people. And the U.S. has warned of a terror attack in Nigeria on their Nigerian embassy. Do you think they are trying to move this war to Nigeria, or it's just attacking?
The U.S. don't need to tell you that there will be a terrorist attack before you should know there will be. I just mentioned to you, Maiduguri is surrounded, Abuja is surrounded, Lagos probably they already have like many cells there. So the U.S. don't need to tell you anything to know that. And as to whether the attack on Iran Donald Trump has already started a third world war. He just hasn't announced it. Because anytime you have this scale of attack, when you are using weapons that have never been introduced before, everybody in the world will be alarmed and they are all joining somehow. Everybody is already allied in a way. So, and to say that, to be asking whether Nigeria is part of Nigeria was introduced into Donald Trump's war in December 2025. He bombed without notification, he bombed Nigeria. What do they call war other than that? Just wake up on Christmas Day and somebody threw a bomb into your country. If we had capacity and we had leadership, do you think we would not be at war with America by now? We would have thrown a bomb back too. If we had a capacity like Iran, we would have thrown some bomb, but we don't have any bombs that is functioning. They have embezzled the money for everything. So if Nigeria were to be Iran, do you think we will not respond on the 25th? We would have responded. So we are already involved in the war. We are just managing our own low-key because we don't have the capacity to fight an open-ended war. Yes.
Lastly, sir, What do you have to say about the removal of Fakorede from his office in the police force?
You know, those ones are like things I don't pay too much attention. They are temporary. It's just like the removal of my Boy Scout friend, Ben 1010, what do they call it name? Who came to do CWS in Abuja. His industrial attachment, 6 months is gone. But the only thing I have to say is that these are individuals that I've had cause to warn. When Ben 1010 was coming to Abuja, this palace jester had just left, Muyiwa Adejobi. And I warned him, I said, look, if you come and do the nonsense Muyiwa was doing here, because I see him and Muyiwa, they're like sidekicks. You know, I said, if you come and do it, you'll be disgraced. And that's what came to pass. And he made one of the greatest blunders in his life, defending somebody who you didn't have to defend. Victor Agbetokun is not a member of the police force. Why are you defending that he got 100 million naira accidentally into his account? Why didn't I get the money deposited accidentally into my account? Well, because they're all stupid people. With regards to Fakorede hasn't met even what is coming his way yet. And that's what I want to say. He was the one who, by the way, in September, got the contract to arrest me, prosecute me. I was the one who sent a CBSP to come and break my hand at the FID. And I remember when we were doing the interrogation, I said, Fakorede, I know you very well because I know that you went and took this contract. You went to meet the IG that I can handle Showore. So this is the last job you will do before you will go down. And, you know, he's a very pompous guy because he's also a lawyer. He's a guy that's been in this impunity for a long time. He has done SARS before. They've killed people and gotten away with it, you know. He used to be in Port Harcourt defending Amechi versus... So he's very, very well versed in impunity. And his reply was that there's nothing. He said, you don't know me. I will show you who I am. I said, no problem. So by the time we were done with that case, he knew that it was a different situation. But of course, this guy was still there, Egwetokun. So it was same Fakorede that then went and applied to get all my bank accounts, if you guys remember, so that he can use it to blackmail me. I told him again, Fakorede, this is going to be your last assignment. He refused to listen. When he went and arrested Tracy Nita, I called him. I said, Fakorede, release this woman now. I went there. I saw him personally. Fakorede, I kept warning you. Stop being an asshole. Of course, he said, no, nothing will happen because it's like he takes contracts to do dirty jobs. And I reminded him again. I said, I have told you there will be an end to this. The first phase of his end has come because he's no longer in the IGP. But we are monitoring to ensure his next posting. You can't trust the police. They might even take him to a better place where he can do a better dirty job. Because they're always looking for people who can do dirty jobs. So we'll wait until he gets his next posting. And privately, I sent me a message that I should look out for his next posting. If it is not traffic, we have a problem with it. If it's not controlling traffic in Abuja, just so that you know, Fakorede, if your next posting is not about controlling traffic in Abuja, we will have a problem with you. But I would advise, if I were to be you, it's time to retire from the police and wait for comeuppance, because one day you have to answer for your crimes. That's all I can say.
Just before you go,
Yeah.
2027 is around the corner. What Nigeria is expecting
The political space is not different from the security space. It's not different from the economic space. You see that typically when elections are less than a year away, Nigerians are excited. But nobody's talking about elections because nobody's expecting much. People are, and you saw that during the FCT elections. People didn't go out to vote. Elections are practically less than 8 months away. It's next January, and this is March.
16.
Yes.
16 January.
Yes. And nobody is talking about elections. Nobody's talking about... but we hope that Nigerians can also use this as an opportunity to take decisive action against the political class. When I say political class, you know what I mean. Before you say that Showore is a politician, no, I'm not in a political class of the politicians that you know. I am a political activist who wants the country to change in a revolutionary way. So, but I just hope that Nigerians can join hands and just disgrace all these people out of the system. But in the midst of it, there's insecurity that we've probably never seen in a long time. There's massive economic problems. People can't feed, can't send their children to school. People can't take care of themselves health-wise. Everything has fallen apart. And on top of that, I don't know what's wrong with Nigeria. This is a time that there's crisis, but you don't even see the president of the country. Everybody knows, you can't tell where the president is. You know? Because as I usually say, and it's not usually, it's the truth, all of them are sick, particularly the president. They're sick. But instead of them to admit that, look, there's nothing wrong with being sick. Even as younger people, when we have malaria, we can't function. If you are sick, just let the country, you can't tie the country down to your health. Nigeria has gone that for too long. We had Yaradua, we had Buhari, we've had Babangida, who was governing the country with one leg in those days. But like I said, it's not mockery. There's nothing wrong with being sick, but there's something wrong with being sick and holding your country to ransom with your own personal sickness. So that's what I'll tell you. But politically, you will hear from us, but not in the way that you are used to. Thank you very much. Now.
You dey find real Yoruba gist, culture, truth, and vibes. Now here a day. Arole Baba Tenten Media, no dollar. Subscribe, sharp, sharp.
Mo jẹ́ ẹ̀jẹ́ fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà tó ń ṣàn fún wàrà àti fún oyin, ilẹ̀ tó kún fún àwọn akọni ọgbọ́n ètò àti òye. Mo ṣe ìlérí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ológo ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀, ìtànṣán oòrùn láti la ayé já nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà, láti gbé ilẹ̀ Odùduwà lárugẹ. Mo fọwọ́ sọ̀yà pé n kò ní dalẹ̀ tàbí ṣọ̀tẹ̀ sí ìṣọ̀kan àti ìtẹ̀síwájú orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà. Èmi yóò fi gbogbo ipá, ọkàn, iṣẹ́, ọgbọ́n àti ìṣe mi sin orílẹ̀-èdè mi ní òtítọ́ àti lódodo títí ọjọ́ ayé mi. Gbogbo ìyànjú àwọn akọni tó ti lọ kò ní já sófo láti ọwọ́ mi títí dé ìrandíran tí ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn. Mo ṣe ìlérí pé ẹ̀sìn tàbí ìṣèlú kò ní yà wá nílẹ̀ Odùduwà. Tó bá wáyé bẹ́ẹ̀, mo lè lo ọkọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó kù sára mi láti fi ṣègbè àti jàjàgbara fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ilẹ̀ Odùduwà, èdè kan, àṣà kan àti ìṣe kan ló so wá pọ̀ láéláé lágbára Elédùwà.